Right, hello everyone again. Welcome to FPL Waffle. We've got a hat trick of appearances from my good old friend Dave. After last
Hello.
one, yeah, went really nicely, and it was nice to catch up, Dave. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. I was just saying before we started that it's nice to be able to chat through how you're doing and what your plans are with FPL. And yeah, we're long-term friends and we don't get to chat too much, so it's a nice opportunity to catch up as well.
Exactly. It's just a win-win, really. And I mean, maybe we should start with chatting about how your week went, Dave. Because yeah, oh man, like just thinking back now, the panic like day before. So I think we mentioned to the viewers last time briefly, like you were moving house, and then
Mm,
towards the end of the week, all the double game week news kicked off for double game
yeah,
week 25, and obviously then like playing the assistant manager just almost became a bit of a must. Not fully essential, but it looked like an obvious play. So yeah, do you want to tell us like what ended up happening to your team, and then I guess how your week went as a result?
yeah. Well, I guess I don't normally do early transfers. I often like to wait. Like if I'm doing quite well value wise this year, and because we don't have Haaland in our teams really, it's quite easy money wise. So like I've been waiting just to make sure there's no injuries and stuff like that. Um, but this week I was like, I just know what I'm doing. Like there's nothing that's going to happen that's going to throw things up. I think it's because the fixtures have already happened, and it was like, okay, I'll bring in Mbumo and Vissa now. I think it's because money was tight as well.
Hmm.
So I think it was maybe the exact fund. So I did those transfers early and then got the news about the doubles, which completely I wouldn't have done the Mbumo and Vita transfers if that was the case. And those were my it basically meant that I just didn't have the free transfers to do much anymore. Um,
Yeah, and they
so
both blanked.
I know exactly, yeah, and they should like at least Vista definitely should have returned.
I
And
know.
Spurs have just been conceding for fun in the other matches. So it's a bit frustrating. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it is.
it forced me basically to pay assistant manager because I was like, there's a possibility that you're getting five fixtures basically, aren't you? So
Makes
that's
sense.
just originally the plan was 36 to 38 for the assistant manager, but I think as we'll talk about later with the chips, when opportunities arise, you kind of just have to play
Mm.
the chip. I think so yeah, what I ended up doing was getting Moyes in, which I think you did the same. We had a bit of a chat about it and
We had a bit of a
decided it
Moyes
was
deal, didn't we? Yeah.
yeah, it just seemed like I already had triple Liverpool, and it seems like the more fun play.
Yeah, definitely more
And
fun.
I back him to potentially do something in the Merseyside derby. So
Yeah.
um,
And to be fair
yeah,
to that, like for Everton to score 4 goals in a Premier League football match, like no offense to Everton
yeah,
fans, but like literally an utter dream first game. You
couldn't have
couldn't have
gone
asked for
better.
anything better. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was knee
and
sliding all over the house as Everton were
yeah.
scoring.
And then I had to bring in O'Brien,
There's a
basically
compliment.
to afford that. So it was a bit frustrating. It meant that I took hits, but it's kind
Yeah.
of paid off anyway because O'Brien got the clean sheet and still has
Yep.
another fixture. And although you could say me benching Munoz is probably because I brought O'Brien in and Munoz
Yeah.
got an
That
11
was
pointer,
brutal. Yeah.
and I took Mateta out for Vissa, who got Mateta got a
Oh,
13 pointer. So it was
savage.
one of those weeks where there was sort of things could have gone better, but I've been having a lot of luck, so I can't complain too much. It's not a huge red arrow, um, which could have been worse because Salah went off and everyone triple captained him. So yeah,
Hmm.
it was
And
all
yeah,
right.
on to tonight where it's gonna be absolute scenes if Moyes is a masterclass, isn't it? Like, even if he gets like a 0-0, I mean that's for me realistically.
It stinks of a nil-nil.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You said that about Greaves, mate, and didn't
Yeah,
quite. um,
yeah,
but yeah, no, it does though. To be fair, and like realistically, I mean, for both of us, like a 0-0, obviously if Moyes would work well, but also like you've got Allison, I've got Van Dijk. I don't know. It sort of just feels like for our teams, it would just do so nicely. Obviously, if Everton win, I think that's probably preferable for us because of the table bonus and things for Everton, and we've both got an Everton defender. But yeah, I'd take a 0-0 all day long if you offered it to me now.
yeah.
Um,
Especially with Trent potentially being out, that's you get
Yeah,
sort of the advantage over some of the Trent owners, which
yeah.
um, it
Bit more
looks
luck
like
for
he,
us with Trent if that happens.
yeah. I mean, I don't think he's going to start now,
No, they
based on the
rested
news.
Bradley as well, didn't they? Interestingly, against Plymouth, which was a,
Yeah,
quite telling, wasn't
yeah.
it?
Considering they don't have any other right backs, that just felt like he was
Yeah.
resting most of the first teamers ready for this match. So
Yeah. It stinks
yeah,
of a Bradley starting, doesn't it?
it does, definitely does.
um, I,
How was your
I
week
get,
anyway?
yeah, I guess I'll really quickly slap up. I mean, it went pretty well. Like, I think because on my ranks lower than yours, I got a small green arrow up to 2 mil. I think realistically, I'm hoping for a top, probably just like a top 1 mil this year, which I think would feel respectable enough. It's not like a terrible season. But I've definitely got a chance. I've still got some chips. Sales, as much as I was gutted, Brian lost 7-0. Like, it was nice to get some sales points after I backed him for
Oh,
this horrendous fixture run.
the Forest players absolutely killed me. So you're on
Yeah,
91, which you're saying is small green. I'm
yeah.
not sure what points I ended up on this week. It
You might have even got
was
more than me.
no, I got 79. So
Oh, but
it was
then with
pretty poor.
Moyes, that hasn't include Moyes, probably, does it? Or does it?
I think I don't not sure whether it does include Moyes yet. I think
No.
maybe not.
Sometimes
But
the
it's
graphics play up, but yeah.
yeah, but it was Forest just absolutely killed me.
Mm.
Like around my rank, everyone has wood. Loads of them have at
Mm.
least one defender. So yeah, it's nice you had got the sales points come in.
Yeah, yeah, that was something, and obviously my loyalty to Son was nice to get a return. We'll chat about Son in a minute because I do have some decisions to make. As much as I love the
Mm,
guy, I do need to think if I want to get a good rank this year. I think I need. It's partly so expensive. Like if Son was like 6 mil or something, I could get away with just having him every week. But at the moment, I don't know. I've got some decisions to make with him, so we'll chat about that. Rogers has been really annoying in terms of he's getting 1 pointers in the Prem and getting 20 pointers in cup competitions. So
yeah,
hopefully this is his week where he has a double when he has Ipswich. And then yeah, Gak's. It was kind of nice that he got a return because he was one of the options. Like I could have gone Gakpo to Ndai and then got Slot in for free.
mm,
But I don't know, like you, it just seemed a bit boring to just like, oh, let's just go for Slot. And the Everton punt was nice. I had triple Liverpool. I was slightly kicking myself because I was originally just going to do and die in all week for the striker. But then I
mm,
did. I don't regret it, to be honest. Like hindsight, because this I can literally hold for the next few weeks. I'm genuinely happy to start him every week. Whereas in Die, I'd have literally just either wanted him out straight away or wanted to bench him for the next like 5 weeks until Everton play in the blank. So
yeah,
I don't, hindsight, I don't regret it. Like against Spurs, like you say, it was all set up for Visser and then Burmo to get something at least. So yeah, so I was fair, I'm fairly happy with how it's gone. And we'll look at my team maybe in a bit as to, yeah, I definitely need some input, and we can share you guys some thoughts for the viewers because I basically don't have my wild card. Dave does have his wild card, so we might be thinking slightly different in terms of chip strategy,
mm,
which perhaps we'll hop into now. And it's probably another thing we should probably chat about is briefly, like the likes of Bournemouth that now go on this crazy fixture run, like who we potentially are leaning towards out of those three Bournemouth attackers might be a nice little topic of conversation. And if either of us are considering bringing them in. Um, Beyond that, obviously, there's the doubles this week with Villa. So, conversation around are we going to bring any Villa players? I think we're both tripled up on Liverpool, aren't we? So, we don't need to chat about them too much, I don't think. Um,
yeah,
so, yeah, Arsenal's fixture run's looking okay, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll be going there. We'll see what you're thinking, Dave. So, here's um here's how your team's going. I assume this is what you currently have it as for the week. I've put João Pedro on the bench. That's maybe, as it stands, you're only benching Headache. Yeah,
yeah,
what are your
and
thoughts? What are your transfer plans? What's happening?
yeah. So João Pedro, I think he was benched in our last match, and Rutter played incredibly well.
Yeah, it is.
And it was interesting quotes from Hertzler. Basically, I mean, I've noticed this season he's really careful in bringing players back from injury and does
Mm.
it very slowly. And he basically admitted that the reason Rutter hasn't been playing loads is because he's been easing him back and wants to be careful with him.
Yeah.
And so this sort of point that people have made that like Pedro's nailed, he's like the most important player. I'm a little bit worried about that now.
Mhm.
Like him being benched against Chelsea, I don't think that was a resting. I think like we basically had our strongest side out, so I think it was essentially he's been dropped in that match because he's not been playing brilliantly.
Yeah.
Um, so I think even those on pens, I think it basically would be between him and Visser, I think. And
Yeah.
I just, even though I think West Ham are a bit more solid under Potter defensively, I think I'm just going to be benching Pedro. I
Yeah.
think I'm pretty confident in that.
I'm not
And
going to talk
then,
about that for second week running.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, the logic was there to play him.
Yeah, I think it was there last time, but I think this you know is going to start, don't you, this week? Whereas
Exactly. Yeah,
you just thought Pedro probably would 2 games in a row, but there's no guarantee, whereas Vissa there is. And like you say, he's
yeah,
not even playing that well anyway, so
exactly.
um, yeah,
So the
that's good.
plan is, I'm hoping to get Emery in
Yeah.
for the double, and he's going to be my only Villa coverage. I need to then get some money in to make that change. So the
Yeah.
basically the Brentford moves completely screwed me. It made me make a hit last week, um, and means I don't have any Villa doublers. And
Yeah.
then it means I'm taking a hit this week just to be able to afford to get Emery in. So
On the plus
then,
side, the Brentford still have good fixtures. They play in the blank, don't they? Whereas Villa players don't. So I'm just trying to make you feel slightly better about it. They might still clutch up over the
yeah,
next few weeks and do well, but yeah. Sorry, carry on.
yeah. And so to do that, I'm going to have to basically downgrade someone. And I think I'm going to have to get rid of Foden now.
Yeah,
Even though
tricky.
he's plays in the blank, I think it's similar to your argument around Son. He is just really expensive. I think he's 9.3.
Mm,
He was amazing for me for the easy fixtures, but the fixtures are pretty horrible coming up
yeah.
for the next few. And so basically the choice is: do you go for a doubler in Villa? So it's basically whether you go for Rodgers really,
Hmm.
or do you just go straight to a Bournemouth midfielder? And I think I'm going to go straight to a Bournemouth midfielder because
Yeah.
Villa blanking in 29, it basically means Villa and Bournemouth players have the same number of fixtures between now and then.
Yeah.
And I prefer Bournemouth's fixtures to
Hmm.
Villa's. It'd basically be
Hmm.
I'd probably get Rodgers in, play him in the double, and then I probably just wouldn't really be wanting to play him again for a while.
Yeah.
So the plan is to get Bournemouth mid in. Yeah, I'm interested to hear which you like the most. I'm leaning towards Dango, um, but I'm interested to hear what you think.
Yeah, quick bonus other point on Rogers as well, which might be a deal clincher. You probably know already. He's on 8 bookings, so
Yeah,
um,
he loves the
that's
booking.
yeah. So the chances are he probably will get a suspension at some point. Um, so that might seal the deal for you. I think if I was in your position, I would do the same. As much as I love a doubler, like it's also Liverpool the second one, so you could even argue it's like 1.5 fixtures
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, no, I'm fully with you on that. I'll ask you why you think Dango in a minute. It's a weird one for me because I was just absolutely set on Cliver. Probably quite knee jerky because of his form.
Mm.
There is something about like when a player's in the form of their life, like Almiron that year, where he had that purple patch of just great
I
every
didn't own
week.
him once that season.
Oh
To be fair,
yeah.
I'm really bad. I think that's something next season I need to
Mm.
address. Is like I'm going to change the way I like. This year, I avoided going for loads of new transfers in and differentials, which I often start the season doing, and then I end up having to play catch up. And I've done well
Yeah.
this season. I think next season, another thing I need to change is when someone's hot, get on them because I didn't have Almiron that year. I haven't owned Wood the whole season, and I haven't
Yeah.
owned any Forest players, and that's
Mhm.
really hurt me. And loads of people were just like, "Oh, Wood's scoring. Obviously, I'm going to bring him in." Whereas I'm like, his data
Yeah.
is not great. I've watched him play for Brighton and Burnley and stuff like that, and I just don't think
Yeah.
he's that good a player. So I
Yeah.
have a bit
Yeah.
of a bias there, and then he just keeps scoring. So
Yeah, and with fixtures as well, like, I often get put off with the players in form, but their fixtures aren't great. So like I'll go to Vissa's nice run instead, and it's like, well, actually, Wood's probably going to do better still because of how well he's playing this year. So
yeah,
yeah, no, I need to learn more from that as well. I guess with Cliver. it's. I think if it was like maybe I'm second guessing him a bit because I know he blanked against Liverpool, but he missed an he missed an open goal. He came off the bench against Everton in the cup, which is a nice rest for him. Didn't score in that. You're like, okay, he's now not scored in 2 games. Like, is there a chance that his form, drops just a little bit? Like his confidence just isn't as through the roof as it was the last few games. And then, now Tavernier's back and Sinisterra's coming back, and you're like, there is a small chance that over the coming weeks, all of a sudden the landscape changes. Cliver isn't playing like, is it his dad or his uncle or his
His
relative?
dad, yeah,
It's his
Patrick
dad. Yeah,
Kluivert.
yeah, yeah. Like, if I don't know, being on penalties is a nice thing. That for me, so yeah, I'm really mixed at the moment. Basically, I'm leaning
Hmm.
towards Semenyo because he is as nailed as
Wait,
houses.
where did that come from?
What Semenyo?
Well, it sounded like I thought you were going to say Kluivert because you were
I know.
picking up Kluivert, and then interesting. So
Well,
what?
this
Yeah,
is why
carry on.
I was sort of teeing up. I was like, I've been on it. I've been thinking about him for ages, but um, Semenyo is as nailed as houses. Like between now and the end of the season, he can be like a literal play every week, 90 minutes. He's looking, the eye test is obviously always good. I think the stats show he's having way more shots than all the others, like in the box and stuff. And
Yeah,
he's electric. He makes things happen. Again, it was quite a nice little bonus that against Everton, he seems to be on penalties if Clivert's not on the pitch, so you might pick up one.
yeah.
Um, I don't know.
Although Dango wasn't on
Yeah,
the pitch either, which maybe
true.
Dango's on pens if he was on. So it's
That's
difficult to tell.
that's true.
They didn't
Yeah.
have Kluivert on. They didn't have Dango on.
Mm,
The only thing is we now know that I was hoping Howson would be
yeah.
on penalties at some point
Yeah.
based on him taking like 8 or 9 in his youth career for Juventus and the Dutch
Yeah.
national team when he was playing for the Dutch national team. Yeah, he was on the pitch and Semenyo took it. So Howson's
Yeah.
definitely not on pens. So the dream's dead on that one, sadly.
Yeah. Well, it still wouldn't surprise me if he just rocked up in one of these games of Clive on the bench and says to Semenyo, "No, mate, I'm I'm having this one."
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, maybe I'll stop waffling on the players, but I think it kind of proves how hard it is. It is a lottery. Like I've been listening to other content creators saying like it's almost like flip a three-sided coin if there was such thing, and you know, and probably by the end of the season they'll all end up on a similar points. But like
yeah,
there is a chance. I don't. Do you know anything about Evanuel? Is it Evanuelson and Unal's injuries? Like, is there a chance they
yeah.
come back in before the end of the season and
Yeah, Evan Ilson will
Dango?
be back at some point. It's not in the next few game weeks. It's I
Mm,
don't think they have a specific date, but like it's I'm pretty sure it's past the blank game week in terms
mm.
of Unal's out for the whole season for sure.
Okay.
Um, and the interesting thing is they didn't buy another striker. A lot of people were saying Dango's not an actual striker. They'll buy a striker in January, and they haven't done that. And they didn't seem to really be in for any strikers.
Yeah.
So that to me that kind of suggests that Iriola has confidence in Dango playing that position.
Mm,
Yeah, in terms of my thought process, it's you're right. Semenyo has more shots. Dango actually has the fewest shots of all three
mm,
of them, um, but he has more big chances
mhm.
over the last few game weeks. So he's having fewer shots, but he's getting quite good chances, and he's had a handful of goals either disallowed for
Mhm.
small margin offsides. He's hit the bar and the post a few times. Like he's getting
Yeah.
really close to hauling as well.
Yeah.
Um, and Cliver, I mean, you're right. His dad was like a solid striker. You can tell he knows how to finish.
Yeah.
Um, but like he's had so many penalties, and that's just not. He's not going to keep up getting that
No.
many penalties. He
No.
scored a bunch of wonder goals from outside the box.
Yeah.
Um, so again, it could just be me doing that thing where with Almiron with Wood, I'm just like, I can't see this carrying on. It
Mm.
feels like it's not sustainable getting penalties and scoring wonder goals from outside the box, whereas Dango's getting right into the 6 yard box and getting these easy goals. And I
Yeah.
prefer that in a player. He's an out of position 5.1 million midfielder.
No.
Um,
Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it, really? For a team that's
yeah,
as in form as Bournemouth.
yeah. And I don't hate if you need the money for something in future. I don't hate getting two of them at some point. Like they're playing
Yeah.
so well and they've got such good fixtures. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm going to go Dango. I think that's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
No, fair play. I mean, you've almost talked me into him. Yeah. At this point, I've been so on Clivert and Semenyo. Should I just like go for the other one, save some money? Um,
I think just
yeah,
go with your gut.
yeah, and that's the thing. I need to just think about who I really want. Like I like Semenyo. It's just part a bit like the Son thing, like when he scores, I'm even happier because I just quite like him. I don't, I've never loved the idea of someone like playing too wide, and I guess that's the thing with Semenyo. Is he ever going to haul because that's one thing I'm like, that's where Dango, like you say, has that haul potential. So I'll probably continue to mull it over. I also don't necessarily need to bring in a Bournemouth player this week. Maybe, I mean, briefly, did you want to? So, is this how your team will look
Yeah.
for the week?
So
Which, I
that's
mean, it's looking good,
it. Looks strong, and the predicted points are looking pretty nice as
unbelievable.
well, almost
Yeah.
100. Which obviously there's a hit in there, but yeah, and I
Mm.
think I'm really well set up for like by 29. I'm going to have a lot of players. Like I don't know what transfers I'm going to do between now and then. But if you go through to 29, there's not a crazy number of people blanking really.
No.
Um, like it's not ideal fixtures. Like you don't really want Pedro against City away, although City defensively are looking a bit naff. You don't
Yeah.
really want to be starting Greaves, but it's not the end of the
Mm.
world.
They're both at home, O'Brien, Greaves. They're home fixtures, aren't they?
Exactly, yeah. Um, so
Taps them in.
I was never planning to free hit in 29. The plan was always free hit 34.
Okay.
Um, the Liverpool and Tottenham fixture potentially being on now in 34
Mm.
is a little bit more, makes things a little bit more interesting because
How many would
34
you
actually
have?
doesn't look. So if you look at like go down to the fixtures lower down, the you can see that the blankers aren't as bad as we thought it was going to be because we thought Liverpool and Tottenham would blank as well. So it's Villa, Bournemouth, Ipswich, City, United, Newcastle.
Hmm.
So out of those, Newcastle and Bournemouth are the only ones who are like important for fancy assets at the moment. And by then, fixtures would have turned a bit as well. So there's
Yeah.
part of me that almost thinks I could potentially deal with that with free transfers.
Yeah.
And there's a temptation to maybe free hit in a double, which is a bit more exciting.
Like 33 or.
Yeah, like a 33, which there's some fixtures in there which you can attack quite nicely, like Arsenal over Ipswich away. I
Yeah.
don't think I'm going to have loads of Arsenal other than that, but that'd be a great differential to triple up on them.
Yeah.
There's also Liverpool have got Leicester away, so if you ditch some of your Liverpool assets, then get back on them. Then and then City are doubling, United are doubling, Newcastle are doubling. So there's some opportunities there where you can really attack it. Whereas, yeah, Liverpool's fixtures aren't as great after that. And I don't think Arsenal's are either. So it's sort of an opportunity to just free hit them in, get them to those great fixtures they've got,
Yeah.
um, and just use free transfers for 34. And then in
Yeah.
terms of wild card, I think it just depends on, like I was saying earlier, when it feels like the team needs it. I was watching Planet FPL, and originally I was planning wildcard in game week 30, but he basically said that's not a good idea because
Mm.
you won't actually know who's blanking and who's doubling at that point.
Mm.
Um, so you don't really want to be wildcarding without that knowledge because the team you're going to be
Yeah.
choosing is to set you up for those things. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely not wildcarding in 30 now. And then it'll just be, I think, be a case of how the team's looking really, make a decision.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think, yeah, it kind of just leave the options open at this point, isn't it? You might end up wild carding, getting a wonderful team for bench boost in 33, like free hit 34 could become a good one, or just you might be able to navigate 30. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, 34 is tricky because a lot of the doublers in 33 are going to be, which is
Yeah,
where free hit 33 could end up being a play. You could bench boost later in the season. There might be probably going to be a double in
yeah.
36, albeit a smaller one. And then
So
you
you
could wild card a
basically,
good team for that for bench boost. So, yeah, it
yeah.
depends.
If you have your free hit left, I think you have to. If you can navigate 29, you then have to free hit in one of 33 or 34 because, like you said, you can't.
Mhm.
It's going to be impossible to optimize one of those weeks and
Mm.
then be able to deal with the other week basically.
Yeah,
So like if you do lots of transfers to get players in like for Villa and Bournemouth and teams like that who are doubling in 33, then you're screwed for 34. So you've got a free
yeah.
hit in one of those. And then bench boost is probably 33 if you're not free hitting that week. Otherwise, it's, I guess, 36 probably.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's probably what I'm going to have to do now. With all because without my wild card, like I think probably bench boost 36. I just have to try and cobble together enough of a solid enough bench boost. So maybe I've got a couple of doublers and just some other players that have good fixtures. I really do need to sort of think about even like looking ahead to what the fixtures are like in like 36 potentially in 30 33 and 34 just to it's a bit of a juggling act for me to be honest, but I partly quite like that, I can really just try and plan it, in a way that it does work still. My heart says I'd love to free hit in 33 because it's like the upside of just getting 11 doublers, and in my position without a wild card I'm going to find it very hard to get 11 doublers without that. And as it stands, I've got three Liverpool who play in 34. The one sort of tempting thing to keep Son is he does play now in 34. And I could just carry him through. He plays in the blank in 29. Like, I could just
So
carry him
so
through.
far away though, but
It is so
yeah,
far away. And
and in
money
terms,
wise,
yeah,
is a lot. But yeah, go on.
and in terms of free hitting in 33, I don't think you're going to want 11 doublers because if you
Mm.
look at, like I
There's
said,
other good features, aren't there?
there's loads of
Liverpool.
good single game weeks. Like I'd
Yeah.
rather triple up on Arsenal against Ipswich than I don't know
Double
having
Villas.
some
Or
yeah
double
something like
Palace.
that who's got Newcastle
Yeah.
and Man City. Like I feel like
Yeah.
a Saka who might be back by then is going to do better than a
Hmm.
Rodgers. Obviously, a big price difference, but you know what I mean, or a Watkins or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's what are your thoughts on getting Haaland in? They've got really good
Oh
as well
man,
as
I know.
as well as the 29. There's also they've got nice fixtures. So some people were like, "Oh, free hit him in 29," but then they've got
Mhm.
nice fixtures after that. So you kind of would you want to free hit him in and then not have him for Leicester at home the
No,
following week,
no.
and then a
Yeah.
double coming up?
Yeah.
Um, so there's part of me that's thinking about dropping Salah or Palmer around that time, potentially
Mm,
Salah because he doesn't double again after this
yeah.
game week, and attacking by getting someone like Haaland. But
Yeah. There's so much food for thought. And maybe that's where selling Son for me isn't a bad idea because it'll free up a lot of money so that if I do want to do Haaland in 29 onwards, I can. Um, so like this week, basically, I either roll, no, not roll my transfer out. I'd have to get rid of Moyes. It'd be Moyes to Emery. And I just do that. Or I'd be a bit aggressive with a hit and I set myself up a bit better. And I'm basically, I don't want to miss this Bournemouth run with the fixtures they're on. And
yeah,
so like I am leaning towards I'll go for one of the Bournemouth boys. Let's say I did Semenyo, then I can have him for the rest of the season. Without my wild card, it might be good to have a player that's sort of just nailed for the rest of the season. I then have the temptation to then do like a Stewart to a Watkins if he's fit, and then like
well,
bench
you could
him. So
afford that.
yeah, that's what I'm tempted to do. But then I have Watkins for future weeks, so I don't really want. But then it seems a bit silly, like taking a hit for Semenyo for just a 1 weeker. So it's like, do you know what I mean? Watkins is almost my justification for a hit for Semenyo. Um, but then I've done it, and it's like I'm now, I've got the Semenyo in place. I've got rid of Son, who's a player that I love, and I'll be like, I won't want to part with. It'll be a done deed. And then when it comes to it, I might even then have the temptation to put in Nicholas Jackson if he's back for two beautiful fixtures, even though he's burnt me
Yeah,
so
I
many
saw
times
that.
before.
Is it like Leicester and
Um,
Southampton back to back?
it's just unbelievable. And then I'm a bit closer to Haaland. I know that's 3.5, but I don't have to do crazy things, I don't think, to free up the money.
Mm. I
Like
don't
get the toe or something.
for people listening. I don't particularly love Watkins this week. Like
Tell us. Yeah.
I know what he can do, but he's got a bit of a knock. Like we said before, the Liverpool fixtures just
Mm,
not really going to offer that much. in terms
No,
of attacking potential. And then they've made a lot of attacking signings. And
they
although
have.
Rashford will probably mainly play off the left, Marlon will mainly play off the right. They
Mm.
can both play through the middle, and Emery hasn't been scared of taking Watkins off at 60 minutes for Duran throughout the season. So who's to say they don't bring on Asensio and then shift Marlon up front, or especially with Watkins having these injury issues. But I think Marlon played up front in the cup, didn't he? Or
Mm-hmm.
at least for some of it, and
Um,
did really well. So
he's definitely capable, isn't he? Yeah, Rogers is the only one that's probably going to play 90 in both. Although even
yeah,
then, he's been rotated a few times. So, yeah, I do think you're right, to be honest, Dave. And it does scream me a bit moving forward. Final like bonus question on my team with that sort of thing. Because I just have like complete phobia of like missing out on all Bournemouth joy. Is there a world where I do Moyes to Iraola, and then I have two wonderful Bournemouth fixtures? I don't have to make a transfer next week. It just feels a bit boring though, because I've got you've got Emery against Liverpool, which could be a big return, and then next week potentially I could bring in like a Pep if his fixture's looking table bonus against Liverpool or another alternative. I don't know what your thoughts are. We've got 2 minutes, so we'll try and be quick.
yeah. I think I just like the double. Like I think
Yeah.
it's been given to us that we get double for the assistant manager. I think
Mm.
you just go, especially like Villa are really good at home. I think they've only lost one
Yeah,
game all season at home, which was
that's
against
true.
Arsenal at the beginning of the season.
Mm.
So two home fixtures, Ipswich is probably a banker, and then
Mm.
Emery's been great against big teams over the last few years, like wins against City and
Yeah.
Arsenal.
Could even
Um,
hold him for Chelsea.
yeah, I think my plan is either hold for Chelsea or
Mm.
maybe Eddie Howe if by then it's a table bonus against
Yes.
Forest. I think that's the play.
That
Yeah,
sounds cool, actually. Yeah. All right. Maybe I'll do that. I was always gonna just do that and keep my options open a bit with transfers and like don't take too many hits, which has cost me a lot this year. So, yeah, maybe I'll mull it over. And I think chip strategy we can probably continue to think about as the weeks go on and things unfold with information and FA Cups, you know, results. So
yeah,
yeah, happy to leave it there.
yeah. Sounds good.
Cool. No, yeah, it's always good to chat about these things. It's that really fun part of the season where there's chips coming into play and the planning just goes a whole new level,
Yeah, love it.
which it's a lot of fun. Yeah, exactly. So, well, thanks everyone for tuning in, and thanks Dave for coming on again.
Cheers,
Um,
James.
and yeah, I guess we'll see you on the next one, whenever that may be. And the cliche saying, may your arrows be green." That was as wet as anything. See you later, everyone.